All right. So today, okay, let's stay on the agenda. I guess as actuary, we are facing pressure to do more with less. New regulation like IFRS 17, complex product design, and the volatile market. All this means is our workload are exploding, going up to the ceiling. And I'm passionate about helping actuary to reclaim their time and focusing on high value tasks. That is why I'm here today to talk about Power Query. I could have chosen to talk about the latest AI tools or other advanced programming language. But I believe the most impactful change coming from maximizing the tools that we have. And Power Query is a perfect example. It's a tool that we probably all have on our desktop, but not many people are using it to automate the data flow. Consider Power Query is a data assistant within Excel. We can use it to automate the repetitive, tedious data flows, like gathering data, transforming data, or consolidate data from various data sources. And the best part of Power Query is we can start using it now. We don't have to go through a lengthy implementation or paying additional costs. It's right inside Excel. And today's session, I'm not going to cover those technical details. All I want to do is to provide some demo, some simple demo, and to inspire you to start the first step of using Power Query. And by the end of this session, I hope you all have the knowledge and the confidence to start using Power Query, doing some basic transformation or even some advanced manipulation. And let's dive into Power Query by using some example. So I prepared about 10 demo, and the first one is very simple. But I want to using the first example to show you what Power Query is. This is a range of data, and the first thing I do is to convert that into a table, an Excel table. And to start using Power Query, you come to data, and you see this get and transform data here. You can see we can get data from a text file or CSV, from web, or from a table or range within the Excel workbook, or even from picture. I mean, I don't know if you guys receive report in PDF, which is a picture. This is a very good tool if you still receive data in a picture. But apart from these common sources, you can actually go to get data, and you can see there are much more choice here. We can even load data from a folder. Of course, database, SQL Server, Microsoft Access Database, and other Microsoft platform, Azure, Power Platform, and online service. And there are other sources as well, from Excel, from web, or even ODBC. And we can also combine query. We can create multiple query, and then we can merge them or append them. So let's start Power Query by loading this data, this table first. So this is Power Query. You can see we have a query pane here. So far, we only have one because we just start doing the demo. Over the course, you can see multiple query add to this query page, and we see the a preview of the data. So you can see we have 3 column, employee column, and couple other column. And we have a step panel here. As we're doing transformation, we will be adding step here. And we can also change the name here. So let's say we call it query demo 1. And on top, we have many functions here. In the home page, the home reference, we have the common feature. So we can know that after we do the transformation, we can know the data in Excel. We can manage the column. We can remove the column, remove the rows, split column. Those are the common features that we use. But if we want more, there are transform reference here. We can group them together. We can, using the first row as header, we can transform them as a table, or we can have transformation as text, number, or even date. The next one is a little bit more advanced. We can actually add column. We can call a function or create a custom column. Those are advanced features we will cover in subsequent demos. And last one here, we can add a formula bar. So you can see after I enable it, you can see in each step, we can see actually the formula that we use in the step. We can also look at the column quality, how many of them are valid, how many are error or empty, or looking at the column distribution here. And we can have a summary of the data. And the last one, I keep telling people Power Query is a low-code development tools, a low-code data manipulation tools. But actually, there are codes behind. If we go to the advanced editor, we can see all the code that Power Query automatically generate for us. We can let Power Query to generate the code, or if you are very experienced Power Query developer, you can actually come in here and develop the program yourself. So that is the basic introduction of Power Query. Let's start doing this demo. So the first thing I want to do in this query is to eliminate these 2 columns. We can either come in here, select these 2 columns, and right-click and remove column. It's gone. Or the other one is highlight the column that you want to save and remove other column. So you see, as soon as I do that, there's a new step showing on the Power Query and the data change. And the next thing I want to do is I want to capitalize each word. And again, you see a new step here. And after we do that, I want to eliminate all the duplicate words. So all the duplicate record eliminate. And I also want to remove the empty row. And then I sort them by alphabetical order. Now this query is done. I can come here and save it to Excel table. So I choose to save it Excel table in a new worksheet. All the records are stored in the Excel workbook. Oh, you notice there's a typo in one of the records. The name of Michael was misspelled. One thing we can do is we can go back to the demo data, look for the error, fix the error, and then come back here to refresh it. You see the error has been fixed. We can just repeat or refresh the query and it will rerun the program. This is one way to fix data. But another thing we can do is, how about we go back to the query and fix the problem inside the query. So let's come back to the query. And I go to one of the steps. After I capitalize each word, I can replace the value. It asks me to whether I want to insert the record, insert a step. And so I add the step to replacing the wrong value with the correct value. And I can also add a comment here. It's always good to document what you did. And if we go back to the advanced editor, you see the comment is actually shown in the program. I'm doing a demo, so I'm not going to rename every step, but sometimes it's a good idea to rename the step. Let's say replacing. So we can replacing the name of the step here. And again,
hold on, Andrew, can you hear me?
Yes.
Arpit, can you mute yourself? Arpit Sarana.
Sorry.
Yep, thanks. Yep, go ahead, Andrew.
Thank you. So you can see that this is the query that we create so far. And Power Query actually create each step. And if we add comment, we can have the comments in there. And I mean, for those who've been doing development, it's always good practice to add comments to our program so we know what we are doing, or other people know what we are doing. And now let's save it. You see, oh, okay, it takes time to refresh. So now you see the record actually saved, even the input data is still wrong because we fix it in the program, in the query. So this is the first demo, and I hope everybody appreciate how simple or easy to use Power Query. And I'm going into the second one, and all the demo here, you can argue, you can do that in Excel. But I just want to show you another way how we can using Power Query and let you decide if Power Query is a tool that you want to do. So the next demo is to split the column. I'm sure all of you do that in Excel before, but let's see how Power Query handle that. Again, we go to data, we go to table and range, and we want to do the transformation. Use first row as header. And you see the header was promoted here. And when we come to the city, we want to split the column. And there's an option here, split by delimiter. The one I want to do is split the column into multiple rows. Let's see what it does. So you see, instead of one column, instead of 3 different columns, we have one column but 3 different rows. If you have eagle eye, you probably see that there's a space here. One thing we can do is we can go to transform and trim the data. Or another approach is if we can delete the step and we can come to the split column by delimiter step, and we can using custom function, custom delimiter, and we specify comma space. And that's what I want today, split a column into row. And let's save it. You see the first query, we actually inject the data into Excel workbook. But the second query, I only create a connection. And let's rename it, call it query demo 2. And the reason I create connection is because I'm actually going to use it in the subsequent demo. And in this demo, again, is another simple table with population. I am going to create an Excel table. And again, go to data. So this is the query we create, and let's call it query demo fee. And in this query, I'm going to demo how we can merge two queries together. So you see there's a button called merge query, and you can choose the demo tool, and you highlight the city and click OK button. And you see there's a new column add here, is containing a table. And I can expand the table here by clicking this button and choosing the state. I don't need a prefix and click the OK button. Now we actually merging two queries together, and we can save the data into Excel. So far, I haven't done any programming at all. All I use is my mouse. And let's go to demo 4. We often receive data in a report format or pivot table format. So you can see the first column is state, and then below is space. And the second column is city. Again, it's empty space here. We want to, let's say, add value for each row. How can we do that in Power Query? Again, come to data from range. We highlight these two columns, and there's a fill value here. We say we want to fill down the value. So you see we have all the value. Power Query will copy the value for us for these two columns. Again, it's very simple. The next demo, we only have 20 records here. Before the presentation, somebody asked me a question about this session, about the database size. I think all of us know that Excel do all the manipulation, formula, everything in memory. And we don't have unlimited memory on our computer. So we need to be careful how to handle the data. And if you look at the data here, we have product name, we have customer name, and we have the corresponding product ID and customer ID. And you probably know that character require more memory space than number. I want to show you in this demo how we can eliminate all this and just keep the ID in the table. And actually, apart from product and customer, we also have city and state. They are duplicate and can consume a lot of memory in Excel. So we want to find a way to normalize the data so that we can effectively having more data in Excel. So let's go to Power Query. And let's call it Query Demo 5. And I'm not going to do anything for now, just save the query. And what I need to do is I need to create more query. So I'm coming here and I say I want to create new query reference to the query demo 5. And I want to come to these two columns and remove all other column. And then remove duplicate. This will become a lookup table. And I link it demo 5 portal. And again, I'm just going to create a connection. I'm not loading any data yet. I need to repeat this couple more times. So I'm going to create a customer lookup table. Again, remove all other column apart from the customer ID and customer name. Remove duplicate. That's it. I need to do one more lookup table, the city table. So we have two columns, state and city. Remove other column. Remove duplicate. But this one, we don't have an ID. What do we need? What can we do? We can go to add column. You see there's an index column here. You can choose to start the index column from 0, from 1, or custom. So let's start build a custom column. And we start with 1001 and increment by 1. So now we have an index column, and let's call it city ID. So we have all the lookup table ready. We can go back and create a table that only have the ID. And the first step we want to do is merge the query with the city. And we can select more than one column. The state and the city, the state and the city, and click OK. And you see there's a new column here, and we expand that and only choose the city ID here. And now we have the city ID in this, let's call it detail. And we can remove all the character column, the state, the city, the product name, and the customer name. And we're going to remove column. So now we eliminate all the character column from this table. And so far, they are still connection. We haven't loaded the data in Excel yet. Let's load the data into Excel. We choose load, add the data to the data model. Again, add the data to the data model. I mean, somebody may ask, why don't we load the data into Excel table? And I'm going to go into that question now. So you see, I have loaded data, 6 record, 8 row, but unlike the previous example, I don't see any new data on my Excel workbook. Where is the data? The data is actually in what we call Power Pivot. If Power Query is the number one I recommend all the actuary to use, Power Pivot is the number two. I'm going to do a little bit demo on Power Query, but if we have another technology summit, I'm going to talk more about Power Pivots in the future. So let's go to Power Query, Power Pivots, and click Manage. You see all the data are inside Power Pivot, and I can click on the diagram view. So I have the detail here, and I can connect the product ID, the customer ID, and the city ID. So this can eliminate using VLOOKUP or XLOOKUP. So let's leave Power Query. I just want to demo how we can create relationship in Power Query instead of using lookup. So far we've done half of the demo. Next one is a very simple demo. And all we want to do is to import data from this test file. So we are going to transform, click the transform button. And we are not going to do anything at all. All I'm going to do is close that. So why do we want to do demo on that? It's just a test file. I'm not even going to load the data because if I'm going to load the data, it may take another 10 minutes to finish it. Why? If I jump to the Power Query, go back to the presentation and go to the demo 6 here. Can you see how many record reloads? 26 million record. Many people think that Excel can only handle 1 million records in Excel. But if we're going to using Power Query and Power Pivot, we can handle much bigger data set. My record of using data in Excel is 80 million records. If you guys have more data, let me know what your limit is. The limit of Excel is on your hardware, how much memory you have. If you have 32 gigs plus laptop or desktop, you can handle a lot of data in Excel. It's definitely more than 1 million records. I think the actual limit is 2,000 million records. I never reached that limit, so I can't tell you is that the limit? But I think I read from the menu, power pivots in Excel can handle up to 2,000 million records. So let's go back to my demo. So demo 6 is just want to show you Power Query and Power Pivot together can handle large data set. And demo 7, you can see that this is actually an internet web address. And this is actually a database stored on the internet. And I want to show you how we can retrieve data in Power on the internet. And you can see there are multiple tables here. I just select a few of them. And I just load the data. Again, I only create a connection. I didn't actually load the data, but you can see the query automatically create. And if we click in one of them, you can see the data preview as well. So if you have the data in your database and you need to retrieve multiple data, this is very simple. But one thing I want to remind you is that we may have many records in the database. You may want to check whether you need all the data for your analysis. Yes, Excel can handle large data, but if we don't have a lot of memory, you may want to make sure you filter out the record that you don't need to import, because most enterprise database can store a lot of data. Now we are about 30 minutes in the presentation. Maybe let's skip to the demo 9 and ignore this demo 8. Demo 8 is try to get data from a folder, and which I will reproduce in the final demo. But so let's skip demo 8 and go to demo 9. Again, this is an online table. If you can read the screen, this is actually referring to the SOA website. Most of us probably know that SOA has keep all the mortality table online. We can get the data from the SOA table. And I want to show you how Power Query can get data from the web, even the data is in the XML file. So So can you see there are two columns here? Let's do the transform here. So all I did is change the title. This is the mortality position. And you see now we have the data load into Excel. This data is directly from the SOA website. more and more data we can actually download from the web. And Power Query has the ability to help us to get data from database, test file, and even online from the website. So this is all the basic demo I want to show you. And I want to do a final demo, which is a little bit more practical. Let's look at what this is about. If we look at the folder, the folder that I want to get the data, we have many Excel workbook here, one for each quarter. And if we open the Excel workbook, you can see that this is a kind of a pivot table. We have multiple country 1, country 2, up to country 5. And we have under each country, we have various product, and we have actual versus expected financial result 1 to 10. This is all the number of random generate. I just want to use it to show you how we can get all the data from all this Excel workbook and import that into a pivot table. And in the pivot table, I think this is something we often do is we want to compare the current value versus the previous quarter or same period last year or 12-month average. This is something we often do in our financial analysis. And I'm going to show you how we can generate this report in. Anyone have a timer? Let's see how much time we need to do that. So let's start from scratch. Start from a new Excel workbook. And the first thing we want to do is we want to get the data from the folder. We specify the folder name. And I'm going to combine all the file and then transform them. So I click combine and transform data. And I'm going to choose the financial result worksheet and I click OK buttons. You see now we have Power Query actually import all the data for us for each Excel workbook. But this is not the format that we can use in pivot table. We need to transform the data. How can we transform the data, or how does Power Query actually consolidate all this data? Maybe let's look at the step. The first step is to get the data from that folder. You can see that here. And then the second step is removing all the hidden file. And the first step is, it says called a custom function. You see there's a custom function that you call with the content. So you see all the column here are the attribute of the file, except the first one is called content. You see it's a binary content. Somehow Power Query know how to convert that content into a table. If you compare these two steps, the first step doesn't have the table here. And here we have the tables add to here by calling this custom function. And then we rename one of the column called source name and remove other columns. So we only have two columns here, the source name and the table. And when we expand the table, we see the content now transport into a table. And we just change the type of each column to the corresponding to the correct type. How does Power Query actually know what to do? Where's this custom function? If you look at here, we have a function here called transform file. Power Query generate that for us. And if we go to the advanced editor, you see there's a simple program inside that function. Again, I'm not going into the technical details, but we want to modify that function. How can we do that without knowing what to do in the program? There is a sample file here. And if we modify the sample file, it will translate the logic into the function. Let me show you how. So let's say the first thing I want to do is I want to remove the bottom mode. I don't need the bottom mode. So the bottom mode is removed. And next thing I want to do is I want to select the whole table. This is the whole table. And go to transform. There's a transpose here. You see, I transpose the table vertical to horizontal. And the next thing, I want to use the first row as header. We have the financial result 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 as the header. And remember, one of the demo, we want to fill in the data. So now we have country one product for all the rows. Next thing I want to do is I want to merge the column with a colon. And this is very important. And I think it's one of the most frequent use advanced feature that in Power Query that I use. Unpivot other column. Let's see what happens when I click this. This is what we have. After I unpivot, they allow in a format that we can inject into the pivot table. Of course, we want to split the column now. And now we are done on the sample file. But you see, the original query actually got error. Why do we have error? Because we changed the name. It's no longer column 1. So what we can do is we just come here, expand the column again, and let's change the name. And I want to replace the value here so I can get the reporting date. And I can change the type to date here. And then I also change the type to decimal number here. Now we are done. This is the Power Query, and now I want to load the data into Power Pivot. You see, we have about 40,000 records here. When we come to Power Pivot, you can see the result, and I can create a pivot table. And let me choose country for the actual financial result here. So this is the template of the pivot table that we want to see. How do we get the values in here? Well, again, we need to go back to Power Pivot, and we need to add something called a date table. Again, Power Pivot will do all these things by itself, and I'm going to create a relationship between these two tables. So we have a reporting day here, and there's a day column in the calendar year table. That's all I need to do in Power Pivot for the time being. And you see I have two tables in my pivot table. I can add the day hierarchy here in the filter. And I choose just one quarter, let's say December 2024. And we still don't have those values. In order to get the value, we need to come up with the measure. We need to create a new measure. Let's say the first one is called current quarter. And I'm going to create a sum for the value. And I format it. So it's a very simple function. Now you see we have the current quarter here. And I can create other measure, let's say called previous quarter. It's a calculate function to calculate the sum value. But we need to use what we call a time intelligent function called previous quarter. And then we choose to enter the date here. Again, we format the variable. You see it will create the previous quarter by after we creating the measure in the pivot table. And I can create more, the same period last year. And now we have current quarter, previous quarter, and same period last year. So let me create the last one, the 12-month average. Well, instead of using sum, we need to using average now. And I need to using a time intelligent function called days in period. And so I specify minus 12 month. And so this is the report that I want to produce. I can now compare the current quarter, previous quarter, same period last year, 12-month average. And I can, so let's look at this previous quarter, which is September. So if we move to September, you can see that number become the current quarter. Or the same time, same period last year is 3.5 million. So if we go to same period last year, September, we have the 3.5 million in the current quarter. This is a very typical pivot table, but with Power Pivots and Power Query, we can generate this report in probably just over 10 minutes. But without using Power Query or Power Pivot, this report can take me a week to prepare. So I think we have less than 10 minutes. I just want to pause here to see if you guys have any question that you want to ask. I know
Hey, Andrew, I really
yeah.
I liked this last one. That was a great crescendo.
Thank you.
What about version controlling? Because you're doing a lot of stuff and you have this macro off to the side. Is there any way that I could put this in Git so I could track how that little query macro is evolving over time and why you did the steps that you did? What do I have for the powers of version control?
Well, yeah, that is a good question. And unfortunately, Excel has its own version control if we are using SharePoint or OneDrive. But there's no simple way that we can do compare between previous version or current version. The only thing I can think of is you can come back to this advanced editor for each query. Then you need to compare them manually. I don't have a automatical approach. And I think I saw your notes. All these new feature that Excel or Microsoft add, Lambda or Python, we need to do something about it, about the version control, about the software development life cycle. But at this point, I don't think there's a automatical mean to do compare different versions. What Andrew has changed in version 1 versus version 5. We can keep the version in SharePoint or OneDrive, but I don't think there's any automatical way to tell, oh, version 1 and version 5, Andrew add 5 steps in this query. No, I don't remember somebody can do that.
Wait for the crescendo to fall flat.
Yeah. I feel your pain. So any other question? But the key of this session, I guess, is not show you all the technical details. I start using Power Query 15 years ago. Power Query was actually come to production in Excel 2010, and I use it in beta. So, and I love it. Compared to what I used before, I often have to using VBA and think that I can do on Power Query. I can build a Power Query in 5-10 minutes. But if I do VBA, I probably need to spend a couple of days to run the VBA. And you can see that Power Query is getting so popular that apart from using it in Excel, Microsoft actually integrated into other enterprise products like Power BI, like Azure Data Factory or SQL Server. And I really encourage all the attendees come to this session and start using Power Query. Again, it's my own observation. I find in the actuarial community that I work with, they probably spend more than half of the time manipulating data. And the worst part is they're doing it manually. And Power Query is a way to recover all the time that we spend on data manipulation. And you can see that they record all the steps, may not be, we may not be able to do the version control right away, but they actually record all the steps. And just like the first demo, if we run into error, we fix it, it will be there. And all the automation or causing less error, I think is, and together with the easy to use, I really want to see people start using it. And if you have problem about Power Query, you're welcome to reach out to me. This is my LinkedIn address. You can connect with me, and if you run into problem tomorrow or 2 months later, you're welcome to reach out to me. I really want to see maybe another years later, all of you will tell me I'm able to automate half of my data flow. Instead of spending 60% of my time manipulate data, I only need to spend 30%. So that's all for today. And if you got any question, you can post me on LinkedIn or the message in the meeting notes. Thank you everyone for coming.
Good job. Appreciate it.
Thank you. Everyone, how should I end this meeting?
Just put leave in the bottom right corner and it will
Okay.
wrap it all up.
Thank you.